Coffee. I'm here with my other co-host, Mark Cook.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mark. How's it going, man?
It's going well. How are you this morning?
Good. Beautiful day out.
Yeah.
It's starting to actually get a little warmer.
Spring, baby.
Yeah.
It has sprung.
Yes. A little chilly out. Just a little. Just a
Oh,
tad.
come on.
But that's all right. No, I mean.
We'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm fine with it. I love this type of weather. You know, how about that loss last night, the Fly Guys?
It was a tough one, I'll
Yes,
tell
it
you.
was.
And what was more disappointing than the Flyers not playing well was the reaction of our fan base receiving a minor penalty for throwing stuff on the ice at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Look, Philadelphia has a reputation enough. We don't need to feed into it anymore.
Right.
I was really disappointed last night. Look, the Flyers stunk flat out. They did not play well. But you can't react that way.
Right.
You know, it was not just a regular playoff game. It was a night where we were honoring Ed Snyder, the founding president of the Philadelphia Flyers. It was a great tribute before the game. You had Kate Smith and Lauren Hart with God Bless America.
Nice.
The Flyers come out. They score in the first 57 seconds of the game. Everything looks great. And then from there, it's all downhill. And unfortunately, it's not just taking a loss. Now, the Philadelphia Flyers fans and Philadelphia fans in general are getting lumped in across the country. I've been looking at wires all over the country this morning.
Yeah.
Everyone is talking about this. It's a situation, again, where Philadelphia has another black eye on a night that was supposed to be a celebration of someone's amazing life. And then we were supposed to play a great hockey game, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So hopefully we can move past this and move forward. But tomorrow night's game, I am not looking forward to it the way I was. Unfortunately, being down 3-0, and then what happened yesterday. It's it kind of stinks.
They're a better team. I mean, we should be
No
thankful
doubt.
that we got into the playoffs.
Well, there's
It's a building
There's
process.
a school of thought that's saying maybe we would have been better off not to make the playoffs. If this was going to be how it was going to go, to just get totally dominated by a team. Look, the Capitals were the best team in the league all year.
Right.
And they're playing like it. The Flyers eked into the playoffs. They snuck in on the second to last day.
Right.
So we're talking about a David and Goliath situation, but a lot of people, because of the way the Flyers played over the last few weeks, they thought that they were going to make a better push. But unfortunately, the Capitals are just too deep. Their team, it seems like every guy on their team is a legitimate threat to score a goal.
Absolutely.
And the way they've been defending the Flyers, what they've been doing to Gostisbehere at that point on the power play is just basically taking away the passing lanes. He can't get that shot because he can't get the puck in open space the way they're defending him. It's really tough right now for the Fly Guys, and it's disappointing to see. But the one thing that you can take out of it is that the future looks bright. They are a young team.
That's the big thing.
And hopefully that they can draw on this experience, and then next year when some of these other rookies and prospects come up, you know, maybe some of these guys that are there this year will have the experience to be able to pass that along, and we'll see if this team can't grow. Which was the funniest thing about last night was that I flipped over to the Phillies game and they were both losing 5-1 at the same time, which was kind of disappointing. But
we expect that from the Phillies, though. But you know what? Hopefully next was it tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night is Game 4, yes, in Philadelphia.
Game 4. So just cross your finger, guys, that hopefully the Flyers will squeak one.
We don't want to get swept. You've got to win tomorrow night.
Just win tomorrow night. We'll go to Washington and lose gracefully. And
hey, listen, you know what they did in Boston a few years ago? They were down 3-0, and they came back and they beat the Bruins in 4 straight games to take that series. Now, I don't know if this Flyers team has the same makeup. There were a lot of goal scorers on that team. If you remember, Simone Gagne was the one in Game 4 that, well, in Game 7 he scored the goals to win it. But you know, this team, it's tough when your fourth line is the line that's playing the best. I mean, we've got Claude Giroux and Jake Voracek, and the top lines are not performing. They're not scoring any goals. And that puts a lot of pressure on your secondary scorers who were doing so well up into the playoffs, that if your primary scorers aren't scoring and your secondary scorers aren't scoring, what we have is 2 goals in 3 games, and it's been pretty futile in the offensive effort.
It's been ugly. So, you know what? We got a great morning lined up this morning. Better than last night's performance.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
This morning we have we're going to be talking about heating and cooling.
That's right. We're gonna get hot and we're gonna get
Cooling
cold.
and then heating. Like
That's right.
fires, hot and cold. Hot
Right,
and cold.
and then we'll find a nice happy temperature in the middle
That's right.
where we can all get comfortable.
That's right. And our expert on today is Matthew Gregorovic.
Correct.
Did I say that right?
You got it right.
Oh
You
my
did.
God! From Professor Gatsby's Heating and Cooling.
That is right.
Man, that was pretty good.
Yeah, you should
So-
probably just leave now.
So welcome to the show, Matthew. You're not a Flyers fan, are you?
Of course I'm a Flyers fan.
Okay,
You have
alright.
to be, a Flyers fan if you're from the area.
Yeah.
I think it's everyone's, responsibility to root for their home team.
There should be.
you know-
There should.
Well, here is a young man, and he is off to a fantastic start because that is the truth. These professional sports teams were set up with an idea of community. So when people like other teams and they're not rooting for your local teams, you lose a sense of the community. And I think that, as an Eagles fan, the thing that bothers me the most are Dallas Cowboys fans from Philadelphia.
Right.
You lose that sense of community. And I know that that's what Professor Gatsby's is all about. And that's being a part of the community and servicing the community and making sure that your customers and your clients are always taken care of with all of their heating and cooling needs, right? Is that a pretty safe bet?
That is.
How do you set yourself apart? What is your expertise? Is it service? Is it the knowledge of the actual equipment? What's your thing? What do you love about heating and cooling? What gets you up every morning?
Well, that's a great question, and I really feel that you have to have great service skills. That way, when you're diagnosing something, you're not spending extra time in that customer's house, which means that you're going to have to bill them more time. So you have to have excellent service skills. But more importantly, where I like to focus most is customer service. You have to have good customer service. You hear so many stories out there, horror stories. Technician ended up doing probably a really good job, but unfortunately he didn't relay that message to the homeowner.
Right.
And homeowner doesn't know, but what she does know, or he does know, is that they didn't wear their shoe covers, or they didn't lay down their drop cloths, and then
Right.
You have white carpet and now it's got mud stains. Your air conditioner's fixed, but does the homeowner remember that? Not so
Not
much. They
necessarily.
remember, hey, I have to get my carpet fixed. So those are the important things that we try to strive on as a company. You say, hey, we want to get out there, we want to provide a reliable service, but we want to be able to relate to the customer, and try to set the bar, in my industry and say, customer service is number one, and nobody's perfect. You come out, sometimes you go out to a call, it may take you a little bit longer. But, if you recognize that and something, you don't have to constantly bill the customer for that, but make it right to the customer. It's about making things right and trying to set the bar to a high level, of customer service. So that's where we focus.
And you're selling, for lack of a better term, comfort. Obviously your temperature is going to make you comfortable, but the customer service and all of the interactions with the customer, it's designed to make them more comfortable as well. And that lends to a better experience of customer service. Because look, anybody can fix your heater or your air conditioner, right? I mean, maybe not anybody, but there are a lot of people that do it. Mm-hmm. So how you're able to set yourself apart is to make sure that the service and the customer experience is at the highest possible level. And that is the reason why you want to call Gatsby's and get them over so that they can check out and help you out with your stuff. So make sure that you guys, you look them up. I think we're late for a break. Our technician is going crazy back there.
Yeah,
I think I talked about the Flyers too much.
We talked about the Flyers too much, but that's all right.
All right, so let's take one,
let's take a break,
and then we'll come right back.
and talk some more with Matt.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at alicia@whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly. And we are here with Matt from Professor Gatsby's Heating and Cooling. So Matt, right before the break, we were telling us a little bit about your service for Gatsby's, your customer service, which you pride yourself on. Tell us a little bit, how'd you get into the business?
I got into the business kind of almost, an opportunity came from me right out of high school. Going to college wasn't in my cards at the time, and there was an opportunity for me to move to Phoenix, Arizona to learn the trade. And I was kind of thinking, I'll go out there for 6 months, for the summer, try to make some money, come back, and then, come back to New Jersey and do something else,
work,
yeah. So I'm like 6 months, I can learn this and go on because I'm young. And 6 months later, find out I'm just scratching the surface. I have so much more to learn. And it was right in October, and I said, well, why do I want to go back to New Jersey when it's about to be 70 and sunny, and I can enjoy the weather and skip the winter? Well, that happened for about 6 years. So 6 years later, because summertime come, and then that's when I would work about 80 hours a week,
Right.
Trying to, getting really nice paychecks and, working for a really good company. And it kept happening like that. So excellent, history out there, and then I moved back for family, and I said, you know what, I always wanted to do my own thing. You're younger, you have these dreams of doing, you get these big dreams, and as you get older, the dream starts shrinking, and reality comes, and I said, I got to take a chance at doing something that's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to own my own company, and I always wanted to create, the best work environment you can have, because I've worked for some good and bad work environments. I think everyone has, and
Of course.
why not why wouldn't you want to build a team around you that you all work together and just love where you're at and what you're doing, and
It's hard. It's hard to find a job like that, or create a job like that.
It was really an interesting move, though, to go to Arizona. It's brilliant because where is there more air conditioning service than in Arizona,
really.
right? I mean, what a great way to learn. I mean, I imagine that in your time there, you probably saw and were able to diagnose almost every possible problem that you could encounter, right? So that gave you really good experience to be able to translate that into a lot of different things. I think that's really outside of the box thinking that most people wouldn't do. Like, I would never think, okay, if I wanted to become a heating and cooling guy, I would just start studying, right? I wouldn't think like, oh, I need to go to a place where I'm actually going to need to put it into practice. I think it's really impressive that you thought to do that.
He's moving to Alaska at the end of the summer.
Oh, all right, wow.
To specialize in
Perfect, in the heating side, yeah.
On the heating side.
Well, don't give me too much credit because that opportunity came to me, and I actually had no idea how beautiful Arizona was.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be hot there, obviously,
Right.
but that opportunity kind of came to me, and I said, I could take that opportunity. It wasn't like strategically planned,
Right.
Just
but
happened to fall that way.
so I've been very fortunate with the opportunities that have come to me, and actually to be able to take advantage of them and have everything work out for me. But it has been a very fortunate, series of events for me. And then also, there's 10 years of experience, and then there's 10 years of experience. And I say that to people as, you can do 10 years of experience doing the same thing, limited to what you're doing.
Right.
I could have just been an installer, and I would have only been installing, and then I wouldn't have learned the service side or the customer service side of
Right.
it, or sales and any of the other departments. I've been lucky to, had the opportunity to work in all different, departments and get a very diverse set of skills to me to make me more valuable to be able to open a company, because you have to have all those skills in order to
Right.
do that. So it's good to have the experience I had and work with the companies I was able to work with to provide me with that level of expertise. So
Is Professor Gatsby's, is that a franchise or is it a?
I was told to answer that question as we are a franchise and we're taking franchisees, but
Okay.
it's not. I created the company.
I like I like the name and everything. That's cool.
Yeah, I want to do something outside the box. I spent like weeks in my, in a room just writing down names, trying to come up with something, and I kept coming across, these standard names like JM Mechanical and this,
Right.
and
Yeah.
but you drive from here to Wawa and you run across probably 100 heating and air companies, but do any of
Yes,
them
you do.
stick out to you?
Right.
You don't remember them, so
They're usually like a 3-letter name or something like that, like,
Exactly.
nothing like a title.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I figured, I had a first name, it didn't work out, and then I said, let me do something outside the box. Let me separate me from all the other companies, because I want to be different from the other companies. I want to be able to provide the best service, so I want people to know I'm out there. So
Right.
something that they could remember. So we created this brand. I look at it as a brand.
Mm-hmm.
We're a brand, and we come with a certain, standard that's, we want to be above everyone else with the services that we provide. So I want you to say, hey, that's Gatsby's. I had a great experience with them. And then I want them to remember me when I'm driving by, or I'm at a customer's house. They're going to say, that's a really neat truck,
Something.
separate me from the pack. So that was kind of the thought process behind that.
Now, cooling. We're going to talk about cooling first. It's fast approaching us. We will be complaining here on the East Coast. It's too hot in a couple of weeks. I
Mhm.
know it. Okay, talk about some things that people should do, before they even call you, but things that they should do to start checking out, to making sure their air conditioning's running correctly, stuff like that. What should they do, or what can they do?
Well, I would always recommend, have a company come out and do a preventative maintenance. Before you start your system, have a professional come out and just check your system, make sure, everything's operating the right way. The customer can turn their system on, but they won't really know if it's working. And the even scariest part is they think it's working, but if your refrigerant levels aren't where they're supposed to be, or the system's just off by a fraction, it's going to run, and it could run all summer, but it could be costing you more money because
Right.
it's just not running just right. And that's the difference between your utility bill from, let's just say, $150 to $210, or just numbers like that where
Right.
and you don't know it. You say, well, I feel cool, so it must be working, but you're spending that on the utilities. So it is important to, I always say, have somebody come out. We're running a special right now. It's $40 for a tune-up. You can't beat it. We're not making any
$40?
money. Yeah,
Right.
off of that. We're just
Nice.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's just to gain as much customer base and get our trust, a trusted company for that customer, and so that way they have somebody they can count on. So we're not making any money off of it. We're just doing it to get the customer base that we
It's
want.
a great idea.
That
It
is
really,
a great
it really
idea,
is.
Matt.
So I just want to clarify real quick. You don't suggest going, like my unit is all in one. So you don't suggest, for me, I've been running the heat. I have not turned on my air yet. Don't turn on my air until someone comes out and checks the unit, or
Well, I would recommend that. Now, obviously, there's many people out there,
they're just
that-
going to throw the switch
Yeah,
to
they'll
cool.
throw a switch on, and then they say, well, it's still warm in here 2 hours later. There might be a problem. Then they'll call
Then
a
they'll
service
call.
call.
Right.
The problem with that is now you're going to pay a service fee versus a preventative maintenance. And
Right.
for $40,
Boom. Okay.
would you rather just take the chance, $40, now you know your system's running right, or do you want to spend a service fee, which is going to be obviously more than that,
Right.
and then, diagnostic and trying to repair it, whereas you could save money, and then you also can assure that your system's running right for the summertime.
All right, I'm gonna have to have Professor
40
Gatsby
bucks,
come out before I
40
throw my
bucks,
air
that-
on.
You can't beat that. You can't beat
Yeah, I think you got 2 customers right here.
that. Yeah. Now, do you recommend that you know, for those people, should you be covering your air conditioner?
That's a, the HVAC industry is funny because you could talk to 20 different technicians, and they'll all tell you
Yeah.
20 different opinions about it. And this is where I've laid out. You want to cover your air conditioner, sure. It doesn't, and you don't have to cover it. They're designed to be outside. I mean,
Right.
It's not gonna be covered for the whole cooling season. So,
Right.
But I like to cover the top of it. Okay. But when you cover it, you don't want to cover the whole thing. I see it all the time. Actually, sometimes I'll get out of my truck, knock on a door, and tell a customer, your system, you covered your whole system, and what you're doing is you're actually trapping moisture in there. When
Right.
the components are going to rust away, you go a whole winter with your system covered, and winter with, you have snow and it rains. That moisture that stays in that system and it can cause components to rust out and hurt the life expectancy.
It's interesting, something that most people, I'm sure, never even think of.
No,
it
because I
is.
see a lot of units covered. That's
Yeah.
why I asked that.
And like I said, I cover them, but only cover them halfway. You just want to make sure the leaves don't come
Yeah,
out. And again,
right.
with a preventative maintenance or something like that, somebody's going to come out there hopefully and take anything out
Right.
and clean that outdoor coil, because when that system gets dirty, okay, from a long winter or rough storm, we had a couple really bad storms this year, really unique storms. You get dust on that. Now that's causing your system to work harder, and then in essence your utility bills will go up.
Right.
So
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back with Matt.
Choosing the right fence for your home or business is an important decision to make. Choose a Nello fence for peace of mind. Our family has manufactured and installed beautiful maintenance-free fence for over 50 years. We provide vinyl, aluminum, and wood fence in a wide variety of styles and colors, including chain link fence for commercial and residential. Call or visit our indoor showroom and ask for Steve Anello and see how 4 generations of combined experience mean that you'll get quality and service that can't be matched by any other fencing company, period. Call Anello Fence today for a free estimate.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
And we are here with Matt from Professor Gatsby's Heating and Cooling. Matt, some great stuff you've been talking about with the cooling system, stuff I didn't know. For you people that are just tuning in or listening in, Matt was just talking about covering your air conditioning unit only halfway
yeah.
to keep it from the moisture from building up which I did not know. Tell us a little bit more, like when they go out, when you come out and do a, your preventative maintenance, what do you go through?
Well, I start with the indoor unit. I check to make sure your air filter is clean. Your air filter is the most important part of the system as far as keeping that system with dust free, keeping your components in good shape, and the life expectancy, getting the most out of the system. There's a lot of times I go out to the system, and the filter hasn't been changed, and I said that's the #1 rule, and it's on my helpful tips on our webpage. I have helpful tips on my webpage for customers that they can figure out some things, or get some information that they might,
What's the webpage?
It's actually profgatsby.com,
Okay.
PROF Gatsby.com.
I was thinking, Matt, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what's the craziest thing you've ever had to respond to on a call?
Does
Does it happen like where you find, I don't know, an animal in an HVAC unit, or is it just pretty much typical common stuff that you run into every day, or is there You know, when you're out with your buddies, you're like, oh, wait till you hear what happened at, you know, the Jones place. No, has that ever happened, or am I just living in my fantasy world?
He
And
likes to watch TV a lot.
and it doesn't really happen that way.
I don't think it's too much like that. I mean, I've seen some interesting things. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it. You know, if I thought long enough, I'm sure I could think of something. But nah, it's pretty traditional. I mean, you know, nothing too crazy.
People are normal. See, that's my problem. Is I want people to be crazy and have all this, you know, stuff. And really, if you think about it, if people are doing all sorts of crazy stuff to their heating and cooling units, that's more business for you, right? So I encourage people to go mess with their things and then call Professor Gatsby's to fix it, right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly.
You know, so now when you do these, you know, you come in, you do your preventative maintenance. Do you ever take a look at, like, I mean, you might not do this, you might have to call someone else in, but do you take a look and see, like, how well, like, the house is, like, kind of insulated, some things that you might see where, you know, they're wasting money for electricity, you know, on the heating or cooling?
Yeah, I mean, I always look around. I mean, the second I pull up to the house, I'm looking to see, you know, everything, what kind of roof they have. But, you know, that's more based for installation. When I come out to a call and a customer is interested in getting their system replaced, that's when I really zone in and look at different, you know, what kind of structure their house is. I have a software that I use, and every installation that you do, you're supposed to do what we call load calculation. And unfortunately, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of guys out there that do not use that tool. But what it does is it makes the system that you're supposed to put in help you get a properly sized system, because
Right.
a lot of the systems out there, and actually I went to a class the other day because I always continue my education. There was a statistic that he said like 90% of the systems out there are installed incorrectly one way or another. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I see it all the time.
I believe it.
You know?
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
And that's why I strive on, you know, I'm going to put the you know, the different material that you're going to want on that job, what you're going to want on your installation, you know, different sensors, you know, things like that, safety switches. But, you know, so when I go out to a job, I measure the whole house, the windows, what kind of insulation, what kind of foundation.
Wow.
All this information that customers have no idea is involved. Like, what is he doing walking around my house?
Yeah, right?
I take this information, I put it into a software. It tells me exactly what size you're supposed to have. Because if you have a system that's a fraction too big, you know, that's going to cause your system to turn off and on more times. And you know, when you measure a life expectancy of a system, it's by how many times it starts up, and that's where all the wear and tear is to a system.
That's amazing.
There's a lot of science behind it.
Yeah,
It's not
and people
just,
don't realize that. That's pretty interesting.
You know what? We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Gregorovic, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
And we are also here with our guest, Matt from Professor Gatsby's Heating and Cooling. So, you know, Matt, right before the break and before we did our hot topic, we were talking about, you know, you were talking about the software that you have to go in and when you're doing installation.
Yep.
You know, because I think when we opened up the show, I think you were talking about service. So insulation is another thing that Professor Gatsby's offers, correct?
Absolutely, yes. And installation at the highest level, you know, there's different ways. You know, some guys just come in and they throw in a system. Everything we do is pretty much calculated. We want to make sure we don't want to just put a Band-Aid over the wound. We want to fix the problem. You know, that if your system's down and you need a new system, we want to make sure that we're making the system bulletproof. Newer systems are so much more sensitive than the systems back then. You know, even just 15 years ago, you know, the industry's changed so much with the way that these systems operate, that it's really, really important to make sure that they're installed the right way.
And I think that people have a misconception that when it comes to their heating and cooling units, that one size does not fit all. They think that, well, if I get a bigger unit or if I get a more expensive one, it's going to work better, and that's not the case. And it's part of what you talk about, the science aspect of it is really going through the home and figuring out what system is going to be the most efficient, because just because it's the most expensive or the biggest doesn't mean it's going to be the right one for your home.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it isn't bigger is better. So yeah, you have to make sure that system's right. A lot of these systems rely on pulling out the humidity out of the home. It's not just temperature and how you feel. It's pulling that humidity to make that air crisp.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You know, that's funny you said that, because there's a box right next to my thing, my unit, that has, no, it's down in the basement.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's
Next to
for
the actual unit.
It's for the
Okay.
condensation. I guess it pulls the.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know what? These guys never explained to me when they installed it. Now I knew what the heck it's for. They just said, "Don't touch it."
Right. Yeah, well,
just don't touch it, buddy.
Yeah, and what that is these systems, the newer systems, pull out much more humidity than the older systems did. So that's a pump. So that water that drains into the pump, and the pump takes it either out of the home or to wherever, you know, there's a draining point to that home. But yeah, so like for example, every one of the pumps that we install has a backup safety switch. So if the pump were to ever fail, where would that water go? It would leak, and then you wouldn't know it until there's damage.
Right.
So we put in safety switches on those pumps to make sure that we prevent any type of flood damage or damage to your system.
Nice.
So it's those little things that I try to go over with the customer so they understand, you know, what separates my installation from that. Is I'm not going to come back hopefully, you know, I'm not coming back in 2 years because there's an issue. You know, we want these systems to last as long as they can, so we try to make them bulletproof, you know, and by doing that is adding the necessary, you know, things that you're going to want for an installation and explaining to a customer.
What type of warranties are on the new units? Are they 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or is it all vary by manufacturer? And
That's a great question, and it depends on what manufacturer. And when we started our company, that was one of the most important things to me. I visited a lot of manufacturers, and I sat down with the manufacturer, and I said, you know, now it's not so much of what system you're getting, it's how it's installed. That's the biggest part of it, and what kind of warranties, what kind of protection. Things aren't made like they used to be made, okay?
Right.
Things don't last as long as they do. I have people telling me, well, this thing lasted 30 years. The systems very rarely last 30 years anymore. They just don't. They're just not made out of the same material. I use a manufacturer called Amana, and I look at them as one of the top brands in the industry.
it's one I've heard of, so they have to be.
Yeah, they're a very good brand, and the reason I used them and I decided, you know what, I'm going to stick with you, is because they offer arguably the best warranty in the industry, and that's 10-year parts, 10-year labor, but lifetime unit replacement. So
Wow.
as long as you own the home, okay, if one of your major components, let's just say your heat exchanger, which is the heart of your heater, or your compressor, which is the heart of the air conditioner, if either of those two components malfunction at any time, instead of us just replacing that component, you're going to get a whole new unit.
Wow.
You cannot beat the warranty, and it's about getting these warranties for the customers to make sure they're protected. You know, so you can't beat it, and that's what really sold me on that manufacturer.
Well, you know what? It makes it a great partnership for you because they obviously stand behind their product, so you can stand behind their product with the same strength, and it really helps the consumer to have such a strong warranty backing the product. So really everybody wins in a situation like that. It's excellent.
It is. It's really good, and the great thing about it is too, if 20 years from now that customer, for whatever reason, they can call anybody who's a MANA specialist. So, a preferred specialist on a MANA. So it doesn't just have to be me that comes out. They could have another company.
Well, we
come
want
out.
it to be you.
Yeah, we do. But but just so a customer knows, hey,
Right.
it's not like you're locked into just me. You can have anybody come out and who is a MANA dealer. So their warranties are structured very good, but they do it for the reason that they upgraded their equipment. Their heat exchangers, which is the heart of the heater, okay, it's stainless steel, where a lot of manufacturers are still stuck on aluminized stuff.
Yeah.
Aluminized heat exchangers are going to crack over time. It's a proven fact.
Mm-hmm.
So MANA, they're willing to put their chips on the table and say, we guarantee this isn't going to crack, and if it does, okay, we're gonna give you a whole new system. So that's why they do that, and that's why I say, well, I could tell a customer in confidence, hey, there's a very, very rare chance that you're going to have, a heat exchanger that malfunctions because of the way they designed it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the material that they used for it. So it's a top quality brand, and I don't want to be able to give the customer, a lower end brand. I want to be able to
Right.
give them the best. And the reason I started this company is my belief was that I believe I can give the customer the best product with the best installation they can, but at an affordable price. Because a lot of times now, if you could have the best and money wasn't an issue, well, wouldn't you have the best?
Right.
You would, right? The
Right.
only thing that stops you is the money. So I felt like I can structure my company to where I can keep my overhead down, and be able to relay the cost to the customer and say, hey, I can give you the best product at an affordable cost for you. So
It's a
That's
great,
awesome.
great
That's
concept.
so fun. Yeah, and just like, without being specific, but like, how much do heating and air conditioning units run nowadays? I mean, a couple $1,000s.
no, they can get pretty expensive, actually.
I guess depending on the house size or whatever.
Yeah, and the industry's changed so much too, because if you went 15 years ago, they didn't have the technology now.
Right.
Nowadays, you have a control board inside that unit that's like the size of a computer. It's
Right. It is a computer.
It
is
is absolutely, and you not just you can't just be mechanically inclined. You have to be able to open a book and read the schematics and tune yourself into how things are. A lot of people that install these systems, if you don't read the book, that system's never going to run right, because there's so many little dip switches on the control board,
Mhm.
and you have to read it to get that stuff down properly.
And I think that's why Professor Gatsby's is going to be successful. You're a young man.
Yep.
You talk about your continuing education. You talk about all of the things that you're doing to stay on the forefront of the technology side of heating and cooling, which unfortunately for you older guys out there that are doing it that don't know about this new technology, these guys are the ones that are going to be taking over for you. And it's very impressive, Matt. We wish
very
you
impressed.
the best of luck. And if anybody has any heating or cooling needs, make sure you get in touch with Professor Gatsby's, and Matt is going to tell you how to do that right now.
Look out at camera 3 and let it go.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can reach me by our office line. That's 856-885-2231. Hit extension 1, or you can even call my cell phone. I always tell customers we're open 24/7. We did an installation the other day on a Sunday. I didn't get done work till about 11 o'clock. So I'm out in the field still, so I like to get my hands on everything. But yeah, call the cell phone, my cell phone as well. It's 856-417-4470, or you can even shoot us an email and check. I encourage you to check out our website. So our website's profgatsby.com, and my email is service@profgatsby.com. So feel free to reach us. You can even text me on my cell phone if you'd like. So I get customers that text me all the time. I get it from everywhere. So don't hesitate to give us a call. Our estimates are free, so if you need a replacement, I'll come out for free, measure your whole home, and give you some advice and options for you that are hopefully at an affordable price for you.
Throw me that cell phone number one more time, Matt.
It's 856-417-4470.
Perfect.
Okay. Matt, thank you so much for coming on to Morning
Yeah, thank
Coffee.
you.
It was a
Appreciate
pleasure, man. And for you listeners out there, please check out Matt's information. I think you'll be very happy with them. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and our next guest is a little bit of a sweet tooth we're going to be bringing.